double digit we could talk about sale increase.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, and that presumably is down to the sustainable composition of the inks and the fact that sustainability is becoming such a hot topic.
Both aspects, of course. The legal compliance is important as well. Yeah.
Sure, no, absolutely. Yeah.
And the product is pretty forgiving on press, but this is something it is difficult to formulate without making our other products looking stupid.
Okay.
So this is why we must be careful with this. But honestly, if somebody comes up and saying, "Hey, I've got a printing problem with FSP," then I say, "No, I don't believe you." So we are almost arrogant with our position because the product runs extremely well. But again, it is difficult. This is one series out of more than 10, so we do not want to make the rest of the range poor.
Okay. Just as far, are we able to provide any more data as far as the labs are concerned, or do we just simply want to say that they have concluded that it's, as I said before, that it complies with all the existing legislation?
For the legislation, there is.
Sorry. Yeah, with obviously the legislation either complies or doesn't. Sorry, what I meant is that when it was tested. I mean, as far as the
bio-based content, of course, we have figures.
Yeah. Do you want to make? Sorry. Do you want to actually make those public?
Sorry, we have figures for process colors, and but I'm not sure if we should give the exact figures because they vary from color to color. Maybe we talk about an average.
The true figures are 68% and 84%, and 60 for chemical reasons, black cannot be better than 68. Sorry, 68, not 64. For chemical reasons, black cannot be better than 68. This is already a fantastic number. We cannot be better. There are the chemical restrictions on this, but the other colors are in the 80s.
So there in between, we could talk about, I don't know, 77% in average, something like this.
Well, so Bernhard, sorry, you're saying that the 68% is the highest it can reach for blacks. Is that right?
The
lowest, sorry.
It is the maximum you can reach for a black ink. This is my statement.
It's the lowest of the four colors.
It is the lowest of the four colors, but you cannot, for chemical reasons, getting better for the black.
And the highest is 84. So we are between 68 and 84, but I would not talk about the 68. Maybe I would give an average figure.
Okay, if it's
more credible.
If it's more credible, and basically, as you said, it's what you want. If it best positions Sun Chemical across the board, then I would agree with that. Yes.
Would it make sense to compare that to a conventional ink? Because if a customer sees this value 68%, it doesn't say something to him. But if we compare that to a normal ink, then we can say it's much better than normal ink.
Diamond is almost there.
Oh, okay. But we can take. You have seen this article from Huber where they compared the inking of UV ink to a normal UV ink, the special UV ink to a normal UV ink. Can you do something like that to show that there is a huge difference between this ink and another ink?
Well,
we have no data giving any huge advantages besides food legislation, of course, which is not given for the other standard inks.
Sorry, but
the others are not bad in sustainability either.
But nowadays, I shouldn't say this, but nowadays, if you take a diamond, it is pretty much an FSP, and you're adding a chemical dryer. So this is where we are by sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay. But presumably, if Beta Labs are actually able to get these percentages, do they not have a sort of a benchmark as far as inks to work with?
No.
No, nothing at all. Okay.
That's not their business. They are testing everything you give to them.
Ah, okay.
They are not
right.
Especially experts in printing inks, they test everything you give them.
Everything. Okay. All right.
Everything.
Okay. Well, in that case, so going back to the question then. So are you all happy collectively then that we reference 77% or as an average, or is that? I mean, there's no real point in referencing it unless I guess your audience who are going to read it can understand it in the context that we're placing it.
Figure. Any figures? To give any figures about, or do you want to talk around it without giving a figure?
Whatever is what is most credible. What is the point?
Well, personally, I think that if we were able to put it into context, and therefore to be able to demonstrate just how good the Sun Chemical figures are, then it would be worthwhile doing. If it's not possible to put it into context, and we just talk about that it reached an average of 77%, people aren't really going. Will people actually understand what we're talking about?
Okay, then let me explain it in other words. Is why do we not have 100%? Okay, why don't we have 100%? The percent we give is the proportion of young pigment, young carbon divided by total carbon. Yeah. So if you have 99, then only 1 out of 100 carbon molecules is old carbon. So from crude oil. So you can imagine if you have 20% of pigment, then you cannot buy, because the pigment is always new chemistry. It comes from crude oil somewhere, and so it is not possible because we do not have pigments which come from nature. We have pigments coming from synthetic chemistry. So this is the limitation. Otherwise, we would be in the high 90s. But this is the limitation why we cannot be better. So you could say, if you find a good English wording for this, is you could say that in the formula practically we replaced everything by young chemistry except the pigment, which is not possible because we do not cook butterflies to gain colorants.
Right. I don't think we'll include that bit.
Hey, I just invented this comparison in this second. I'm proud of it.
Yes, it's very visual, very visual, Bernhard. Okay, all right. Fine. Look, we'll have a think about it, and obviously, and come back, and we'll see what we can do about it, and then you can obviously just change it as you feel is necessary.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Is there so is anything else to be said on that, and also again, if as far as you've talked here about including a quote. So if we are to include a quote, is there anything specifically you want to say within the quote that we're not actually talking about from a factual perspective?
The quote could be that, and this is why I'm proposing Felipe Millado as Chief Marketing Officer of Sun Chemical. And the importance of environmental sustainability is a guidance from the management. So our manager and Felipe in particular, and this is this is a true story. This is not a made up one here. It is a true story that in the last years is that Felipe is pushing the company into more sustainability. So if so, from saying this, then we should give